two headings, that is pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. Pharmacokinetics means the movement of the drug in the body, or in simply what the body does to the drug, that is absorption of the drug, distribution of the drug, metabolism of the drug, and excretion of the drug. The next part is pharmacodynamics. Pharmacodynamics means what the body does to the drug, that is the drug mechanism of action. Pharmacological actions are studied under the heading of pharmacodynamics. Okay, now in today's class, what we are going to study is the routes of drug administration. How the drug will be administered. Only when the drug when administered, then only it can show any pharmacokinetic or pharmacodynamic actions. So the first part of pharmacology is routes of drug administration, that is how the drugs are administered. Now we have classified the routes of drug administration into two types. One is systemic and another is local. Why we are calling it as a systemic and why we are calling this as a local? Because once the drug is administered, if that drug enters into the systemic circulation and spread throughout the body, then that type is called as systemic. Whereas when the drug is administered, it is present only at the site of administration, then that route is called as local route of drug administration. Okay, that is the difference between systemic and local route of drug administration. Systemic means once the drug is administered, it will enter throughout the systemic circulation. Whereas in local, once the drug is administered, the drug will present at the site of administration only. Okay, now we have classified systemic route of drug administration into again two types, that is parenteral route of drug administration and enteral route of drug administration. Now one question should arise, why this systemic is again divided into two types, on which basis? That is, if any drug that come across the enteric system, that is mouth, intestine, esophagus, stomach, whatever the GID part is there, when the drug come across this part of GID, then that type of drug administration is called as enteral. Enteral means which come across the enteric system. Okay, so the enteral route of drug administrations include oral route of drug administration, sublingual route of drug administration, and rectal. Okay, if the drug come across any part in the GID starting from the mouth to rectus, then who is that? Who is that? Then this is called as enteral route of drug administration. And the next type is parenteral route of drug administration. Now, what is this parenteral means? The drugs which will not come across the enteric route of drug administration, and the drug that is administered will be circulated throughout the body, or which will enter into the systemic circulation and spread throughout the body. That type of drug administration is called as parenteral route of drug administration. Here, the parenteral route of drug administration is of inhalational injections. The injections include intravenous route of drug administration, intramuscular route of drug administration. Kiran, you have raised hand. What? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Now, one second. In injections, we have intravenous route of drug administration, intramuscular route of drug administration, subcutaneous route of drug administration, intraarterial, intra-articular and intrathecal and intradermal. These are the parenteral route of drug administration. Coming to the local, we have topical drug administration, we have deeper tissue and arterial supply. Okay, these are the various routes of drug administration. So just remember on which basis we have classified. Okay, first basis for the classification of route of drug administration is whether it enters into the systemic circulation and spreads or not. If enter into the systemic circulation and spread throughout the body, then that type of route of drug administration is systemic route of drug administration. If the drug that is administered will not enter into the systemic circulation or will not spread throughout the body, then this type is called as local drug administration. Now, the systemic is again classified into two types based on whether it comes across the enteric system or not. If it comes across the enteric system, then this type of or this group of drug administration is called as enteral. If it does not come across the enteric system and the drug that reaches throughout the systemic circulation, then that type of route of administration is called as parenteral. Okay, now factors governing choice of route. In the previous slide, I have said some 8 to 13 type of drug administration, but which type should be selected? That means the type for route of drug administration depends on the following factors, that is physical and chemical properties of the drug. Now, if the drug is a gas, can we give through the parenteral route or can we give through the enteric route? No, we can only give through the inhalational. Okay, depending on the physical and chemical properties of the drug, we will choose which type of drug administration will be good. Okay, and if it is a solid drug, we can give by oral route and sublingual and rectal. If it is a liquid, it can be given either oral or parenteral route, or which can also be given locally by intra-arterial injection. Okay, depending on the solubility, stability, and pH irritancy. These are the factors which will decide the route of drug administration. Okay, and next one is site of desired action. If site of desired action is only peripheral, then is it required for a drug to give through the systemic route of drug administration? No, because the desired site of action is only peripheral, local, only restricted to the particular region. Then the drug will be applied only on the desired action. Now, if we take an example of fungal infection, for case of a fungal infection, there is no requirement for giving a antifungal tablet through the oral route. If severity is more, then the antifungal drug will be given by the oral route or given as a tablet. But if severity is less, and then the fungal ointment or gel topical applicable cream will be given. Okay, like that. Depending on the site of desired action, we will choose whether to give the drug as a systemic route or by the local. The next one is rate and extent of absorption from various routes. Okay, here if we give the drug through the injection form, in the injection form, the drug will directly enter into the systemic circulation. If we give the drug through the oral route, that drug has to reach the GIT, that is the stomach and intestine. From the intestine, then the drug will be absorbed. So there is one extra step will be present for the enteral route of drug administration, that is absorption. Whereas if we see the injections mostly, not I'm saying 100%, mostly 100% of the drug will be absorbed. Okay, absorption part will be less if the drug is injected. Okay, depending on the rate and extent of absorption, also will choose the route. Okay, and effect of digestive juices and first pass. Now, if we take insulin, you might be knowing that insulin will be given by subcutaneous route mainly. Okay, but this insulin cannot be given orally. Why? Because if it is given orally, it will be digested by the gastric juices or digestive juices, and few drugs cannot tolerate the acidic pH of the stomach. Few drugs will get digested because of gastric juices. That's why at with these drugs we won't go for the oral route of drug administration. We'll choose the other alternative route of drug administration. The next one is first pass effect. First pass effect means during the absorption process the drug will get metabolized. Okay, and first pass effect is present from 10 to 100%. Okay, each and every drug will show the first pass effect, but a few drugs will have high first pass effect. Because of its high first pass effect, most of the drug will be get metabolized inside the GIT, and only very less quantity of the drug will enter into the systemic circulation. Okay, if the drug has got high first pass metabolism, then we will not go for the oral route of drug administration, or we will not go through the enteral route of drug administration. We will choose either parenteral or in parenteral also inhalational or injection. Okay, next one is rapidity of desired response. As I said earlier, absorption require time. So if the drug is given by oral route, it require time to show action. If we administer the drug by intravenous route, this drug will directly enter into the systemic circulation and it will show the response immediately. Okay, depending on the rapidity of desired response also, we choose which route of drug administration is, and accuracy of the dosage. As I said earlier, because of first pass effect, if we administered some, let's take drug A is administered at the dosage of 100 mg. Because of first pass metabolism, only 90 will enter into the systemic circulation. With a few drugs, it will only enter of 10% only. Okay, and to maintain the accuracy of dosage also, we'll choose either the enteral, parenteral or local route of drug administration. Next one is condition of the patient. Now, if patient is unconscious, can you give the tablet to an unconscious patient? We cannot give, because he cannot take the tablet. I mean, he cannot swallow the tablet. Okay, so in this condition, what we can do? We can administer the drug by parenteral route of drug administration. Now, if the patient has got has vomiting, now in this condition, can we give the tablet through the oral route of drug administration? No, because already he is having vomiting and the drug may not absorb properly. So depending upon the patient condition also, we'll choose the route of drug administration. Okay, these are the various factors which helps in choosing the route of drug administration. Now, and the next important definition here is dosage form. Most of the people will get confused between dosage form and dosage. Here, the dosage form means the physical form of the drug. Okay, if you see here tablets, in this image, if you see the tablets are round solid. Okay, so tablets physical form is round and solid in this image. Okay, so the dosage form is physical form of the drug. So in pharmacology, the drugs are available in various dosage forms, that is as a capsule, as a powders, as tablet, as expansions, as syrups, as emulsions, as suspension, and as elixir. These are the drug dosage forms which can be given to the patient. Okay. Now, first route of drug administration, oral route of drug administration. This one is the most common route of drug administration. The drug is given through oral cavity. The drug will be taken through mouth. Okay, and coming to the advantages of oral route of drug administration, it is the safest route of drug administration and convenient. Why it is convenient? Because there is no requirement of help from the other person. So the drug can be administered self-administration is possible, and this one is the painless procedure and non-invasive and easy to take. Okay, and next one is these preparations or oral route of drug dosage forms are economical compared with the other parenteral route dosage forms. If you compare a tablet and a vial or ampule, usually the tablet or the drug which can be taken through the oral route is cheap than the drug that can be given by parenteral, the dosage form that can be given by parenteral. Okay, and next one, usually good absorption take place along the whole length of GI. The absorption may happen starting from the stomach to longus. Okay, so there is a whole length of GIT tract. Whatever the length of the GIT tract is there, it helps in absorption of the. Okay, and next one, this process does not require any sterilization. When the sterilization is required, if the drug is administered by injection form, then the sterilization is required. Here, there is no need of sterilization. These are the advantages of oral route of drug administration. Now, advantages is over. Next one is disadvantages. First disadvantage with the oral route of drug administration is there is slow absorption of the drug. Why there is slow absorption of the drug? The drug is taken through the mouth. First it has to cross the mouth, then it has to enter to the esophagus, from esophagus stomach, from stomach then it has to enter into the small intestine and large intestine. So it requires some time. Once it reaches the intestine, from there also the drug has to get absorbed. So slow absorption causes slow action of the drug. That means once the drug is taken, it will not show action. It requires some time to show it action. Okay, so this oral route of drug administration cannot be used in emergency. Okay, the next one is irritable and unpalatable drugs may cause nausea and vomiting. The next one is these drugs cannot be used in uncooperative, vomiting, and unconscious patients. In these group of patients, the oral route of drug administration is not possible. Okay, and next one is some drugs are destroyed if the drug is given through oral route of administration. Now, the example include penicillin and insulin, streptomycin. These are the drugs, tetracycline. These are the drugs which, when given through the oral route of drug administration, these drugs may get destroyed either because of gastric disease or because of pH of the stomach or because of food and drug interaction. Okay, food and drug interaction example is tetracycline. And the next one, sometimes inefficient drugs absorption will be seen. That is, very less quantity of drug will be absorbed either because of mainly because of first pass metabolism. And next one is due food and drug interactions and drug interactions. I will give example for each food and drug interaction. Now, as I said earlier, the example for the food and drug interaction is when tetracycline is taken with milk. What is going to happen is, as milk has got calcium, this calcium will react with the tetracycline and thereby inhibits the absorption of tetracycline. So the best example for the food and the drug interaction is tetracycline with milk or milk products. And next one is drug interactions. Now, if we take a case of peptic ulcers, in peptic ulcers, the main drugs that are used are proton pump inhibitors. Okay, proton pump inhibitors. Now, what is the requirement for the PPI is it requires acidic pH to show its action. Okay, now in this condition, if PPI is combined with another antacid, antacid means which will increase the pH of stomach mainly in peptic ulcers. Now, when these drugs are combined with the PPI, or two drugs are taken at a time, antacids and PPI are taken at a time, antacids what it will do? It will increase the pH of stomach. What is going to happen if pH of stomach is increased? The absorption of proton pump inhibitors will be decreased. Why the absorption of proton pump inhibitors is decreased? Because proton pump inhibitors require acidic environment for absorption. Now, how this acidic environment is disturbed? Because of antacid. What antacid it did? Antacid has raised the pH. Because of rise of pH, the proton pump inhibitors will not absorb. Okay, this is how drug interaction may happen. Okay, now first pass metabolism. Just read it for yourself. First pass. That means during passage of the drug through absorption. At the first step only, the drug will get metabolized. Okay, metabolism of the drug in the gut wall, that is GIT epithelium, or in the portal circulation before reaching into the systemic circulation. Okay, with almost all the drugs shows the first pass metabolism, but the extent may vary. Few drugs will show less first pass metabolism, whereas few drugs will show high first pass metabolism. The main problem with the drugs is the drugs which has got high first pass metabolism. Because of high first pass metabolism, most of the drug will get eliminated in the GIT epithelium and liver. So only very less quantity of drug will enter the systemic circulation. Okay, if any drug that has got high first pass metabolism, then we won't give the drug through the oral route of drug administration. The best example, the drug that has got high first pass metabolism is glycerol trinitrate and morphine. Because of its high first pass metabolism, these two drugs are not given through oral route of drug administration. Okay, now where the first pass metabolism will occur? The first pass metabolism will occur in the liver, will occur in the gut epithelium, will occur in the gut lumen. Okay, and what is going to happen because of metabolism in the liver, in the gut epithelium, and the gut lumen? There will be low bioavailability of the drug, and short duration of action will be present for the. These are the results of first pass metabolism. Now, the next route of drug administration is sublingual or buccal route of drug administration. Here, the tablet or pellet containing the drug is placed below the tongue, or the tablet might be crushed and that crushed powder will be spread on the buccal mucosa. And the drugs that are given through the sublingual route are glyceryl trinitrate, that is GTN, and buprenorphine. These are the drugs which are given through the sublingual route. Remember, the last slide, what I have given example, what I have given for the drug that has got high first pass metabolism, glyceryl trinitrate and morphine. Okay, now as glyceryl trinitrate has got high first pass metabolism, that's why this drug is administered by sublingual route than the oral. Now, coming to the advantages and disadvantages of sublingual route of drug administration. Advantages include the drug absorption is quick. Okay, because it does not has to pass through the esophagus, stomach, or GI. Once the tablet is crushed and placed on the buccal mucosa, the drug will enter the microcirculation or small capillaries which are present in the buccal mucosa, and from that capillaries the drug will reach us to the systemic circulation. And the quicker termination is also seen. First pass metabolism is avoided because does not come across GIT epithelium, GIT lumen, or liver. Remember this. Remember this. We'll go to the previous slide. Remember the sites where first pass metabolism will occur. Where first pass metabolism will occur? First pass metabolism will occur in liver, gut lumen, and gut wall. Now, if the drug is administered by the sublingual route, it does not come across the liver, gut wall, or gut lumen. So, ultimately, what is going to happen? This route will bypass the first pass metabolism. The drugs can be self-administered and economic. Disadvantages is unpalatable and the bitter drugs cannot be given through the sublingual or buccal. And it causes irritation of the oral mucosa. And next one is large quantities of the drug cannot be given. Only few drugs are absorbed from this route of drug administration. Next one is rectal route. Here the drug is administered rectally as suppository. And this one is the liquid-like preparation which are present in the jars. Okay, in this form, drug is mixed with a waxy substance that dissolves or liquefies after it is inserted into the stomach. If you see the right image, okay, if you see this image here, this is how the rectum, in the rectum the suppository is placed. What is going to happen when this suppository is placed? Because of its waxy nature, once this preparation is kept in the rectum, it will get dissolved. And the drugs that are given to the rectal route are diazepam, indomethacin, formaldehyde, and arcotinine. And coming to the advantages of this route of drug administration, it is usually and mainly used in children, and this route has got little or no first pass effect and used in vomiting and unconscious patients. And higher concentrations are rapidly achieved. And disadvantages is this one is the inconvenient procedure. No one wants to take tablet through the rectum. It's an embarrassing process for the physician or for the nurses or for the patient also. So it's an inconvenient route of drug administration, and absorption is slow and erratic. And irritation or inflammation of the rectal mucosa can occur with the irritant drugs. Now, these are the dosage forms of the drugs which are administered through parenteral route, that is ampules, IV infusions and vials. These are the dosage forms which are helpful in administration of drugs through parenteral route. Here, the drug directly enters into the systemic circulation and it does not come across the intestinal mucosa. And the drugs, various routes of parenteral drug administration are intradermal, subcutaneous, intramuscular, intravenous, intraarterial, intrathecal, intraperitoneal, and intraarterial. Now, of all these, only all are parenteral route of drug administration and produces systemic absorption of the drug. But only one route, that is intraarterial. When the drug is administered by intraarterial, the drug does not enter into the systemic circulation. Okay, this intraarterial actually a part of local route of drug administration. Now, coming to the advantages and disadvantages of parenteral route of drug administration. Advantages is high bioavailability. That is, if 100%, if 100 mg of drug is given, 100 mg of drug will enter in the systemic circulation. That is high bioavailability. Mostly 100% of the drug will be absorbed. Remember the terms what we are using while explaining. I said mostly because all the drugs will not show 100%. Few drugs may show 99%. Comparison with the enteral route of drug administration, parenteral administration has got high bioavailability. And next one is rapid action is seen. Why rapid action is seen? Because we are directly injecting the drug into the systemic circulation, and there is no absorption step will be present for the parenteral route of drug administration, especially for the intravenous route of drug administration. That's why the action is rapid. And next one is there is no first pass metabolism. Why there is no first pass metabolism? Because the drug does not come across liver, GIT epithelium and GIT lumen. That's why there is no first pass metabolism is seen with the parenteral route of drug administration. The next one is, and this is suitable for vomiting and unconscious patients, and if the drug is irritant and bad taste is there, then the drug is given by parenteral. And if the drug has a property of causing gastric irritation, then that drug will be administered to the parenteral. Or if any drug is showing food and drug interaction, to avoid the food and drug interaction, that drug will be given by parenteral route of drug administration. Disadvantages is there is a chance of infection at the site of injection, and it requires sterilization before and after injection, and it's an invasive process and painful procedure, and it cannot be self-administered, so a requirement of assistance is necessary. And anaphylaxis is a type of hypersensitivity reaction which may happen with parenteral route of drug administration, and these dosage forms are expensive compared with the dosage forms of oral route of drug administration. Now the next one is intravenous route of drug administration. Here the drug is administered in the vein, and advantages is intravenous is the most common parenteral route for the drug administration that are not absorbed orally, and this will bypass the first pass metabolism. If any drug that has got high first pass metabolism, then the drug will be given through the parenteral route. Okay, large quantities can be given, and the 100% bioavailability of the drug will be present if the drug is given by the intravenous. Okay, and especially with the intravenous route of drug administration, the pharmacokinetics will not have absorption. What it will have? will have distribution, metabolism, and excretion. Whereas for oral route of drug administration, the pharmacokinetics will have absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. Disadvantages is, however, unlike drugs in GIT tract, those that are injected cannot be. Now, if the drug is given through oral route, I mean high quantity, over toxicity or overdosage has happened, that overdosage can be recalled by giving emetics or by causing emesis or by giving the activated charcoal. But if the drug is injected into the veins, it cannot be recollected back. Okay, IV injection may also induce hemolysis or cause the other adverse reactions. The next one is thrombophlebitis of veins and a necrosis of adjoining tissue in extravasation may occur if the drug is administered through the intravenous. That is, thrombophlebitis means a bubble formation in the blood vessels may happen, which may block the blood vessels, or it may cause embolism also. The next one is Akanksha.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you have raised your hand.
Excuse me, sir. Actually, Snigdha, my friend, is in a waiting room. So she told me to tell the sir to take her in the room.
Time is up. Last 1 minute is left. No need to take her now. Okay. Anyhow, the time is up. We'll see you in the next class.
Okay, sir.